Kazva has picked RecoN's signature Civ. The one that he is infamous for, loves to play, knows inside out. Curious to see what K can do when he's going up against someone that knows this Civ better than most, right? There's only a few players that I'd put on that like level. RecoN is that indulgent with his Mongols. Like if you ask him, like this guy, it was all he knew for months and months. I'd say in more recent times, actually to me, Abbasids has kind of become his new Civ, where he fully acknowledges that. I'd say that the RecoN, maybe it's not much competition, not many people play at the moment. He's probably the most impressive Abbasid player, and it fits what he likes to do because RecoN is a very defensive player, for those unaware. Where RecoN thrives is when he's able to just kind of play for his timing later on in the game and essentially react to what's happening. It's something I've talked to him about. It's something that I think a big area that I'd love to see him improve on is his scouting. Because I think RecoN, where he get a lot more value out of his defensive playstyle is if he scouts more efficiently as the game goes on. It's something that players like Mr. are phenomenal at throughout the game. Like, if you're able to get to that level of surveillance, you can become a master. Like, it's something I've talked to him about. I think it's the next big thing to level up his gameplay style. It's quite funny, actually, because he was quite admitting about it. Like, we talked, and we're like, so ironically enough, for a guy called RecoN, you'd say your reconnaissance isn't that good. He's like, yeah. Which is quite fitting. Kazza on the other side, very much a player that likes to kind of turn the screws and play fast and play to his style. And he will get the opportunity to play fast at the opening on this. This is one beautiful thing. You get kind of a smiling face when you see Mongols versus Abbasids, because it does mean that in the opening, you're going to be the field aggressor, right? You are always going to be the one that looks to block something away from an Abbasid player, because this is one of the most defensive civs in the game. They don't tend to defend themselves well at all. Usually, they're looking for their tech up timing and then trying to react with archers or horsemen. You rarely see Dark Age spearmen. You used to see it a decent amount, but most Abbasid players have shifted away. Now, about a minute and a half window. Kazza going to be there in 10 seconds. He'll get an opportunity to block something out. It's going to be a block on the stone outcropping, so trying to force a 1 TC game out of the Abbasid player here. Will also block the berries, so decent value here. No way RecoN can deal with that right now. If he does want to get access to stone, it's problematic as well, considering this is the corner where the big stack is. He could always play far north, but it is far away. Gold, however, is going to be fairly safe. So RecoN should be able to get enough to get his tech upgrades once he arrives in Fuel Age. Wheelbarrow, fresh foodstuffs, whatever you have you. Seems for now, he's going to allow this aggression to wrap around. So Kazva reaches out in a very greedy way, spreading himself two sides of the map. Or two sides of the base, rather. That's not going to last long. Not with this now. Archery range being built up. 6 villages. Understand that RecoN is on a timer here to prevent maximum aggression. He knows he's likely going to have to go for a ram, though, considering that most Mongol players in this situation will commit 2 to 3 outposts in the area. At which point the ram, decent investment. And something that the Abbasid players, of course, do get access to easier, as they don't have to get siege engineering. Instead, it's going to be an... Oh, whoa. It's going to be a camel archer. I didn't even check that. That's very surprising out of RecoN. Typically, this is for the archers, but this will mean he doesn't have any way of burning through the outposts unless he masses horsemen. But it does mean that he'll have raid potential. And it's an understandable play, actually. This is a great read by RecoN if you think about it. If he went for archers, it's very hard to now go punish your opponent. And you need to punish them because it's a Mongol player. A Mongol player that he scouted out building a silver tree. That's exactly why he went camel archers instead of archers. Because now he can snipe any attempt to greed out that Kazva goes for. Of course, these camel archers will buffer away any horseman attempts by Kazva as well. Like this mirroring that RecoN can now do. Horseman on horseman, but of course the difference is that you're negating damage, whereas the Mongol player can't do that to you. The outpost in place. This will be the peel back by Kazva. He says, I've done what I need to. Walls are going to be forced. So RecoN will start building them up. So there's going to be an attempt to block out the wood as well, but at this stage it's way too late. Like this outpost will not block out gold, and RecoN could just move on to primary wood. So you don't really achieve anything with this attempt anyway. Kazva, how are we looking? Has he even begun trading? Okay, yeah, he's got a few traders now coming in. So we are up to 2. And this will be the point where you will see RecoN move out. 9 villagers out here is dangerous, by the way. Camel archers in the neighborhood, you can lose 4 of these in the blink of the eye. should be the march route. RecoN. He did see it. Instead, he goes into the base, though. Good choice. I love this. He's trying to force a fight. He says, you either come and address this or you lose all your production. And the problem you have if you're Kazva is you're on the wrong side of the map right now. Horsemen trying to wrap in. Spearmen are there to buffer him away, though. Traders are about to reveal themselves. Camel Archers will go after that any day of the week. So pack up, force back. Traders are now going to be sniped out. Uvu should be the next target here. Something that cannot pack up and move away. An archer response now coming in from Kazva. A double archery range play. The correct answer to the Camel Archers, but it means for the time being, RecoN does have mid-map control. Double outpost play out here. There's not much RecoN can do to kill economy with it. And this second wave building up, so RecoN not slowing down anytime soon. Camel Archers are really hard to make work, by the way, guys. It's a very hard comp. We've seen multiple people try it, and multiple people fail, but the read in this game was actually brilliant by RecoN. This Camel Archer play forces Kazva to invest into archers when he's already up against horsemen, and it also forces him to stop attempting trade. Which means that Kazva isn't getting anything, really. He has to play super condensed, he has to go into pastures, he's going to delay his castle age timings. He's not going to get fast up here. Realistically, in the coming minutes, RecoN could be the first person to hit castle age. Which comes down to if he's able to stop this gathering on the deer. If he gets enough horsemen, he will be able to do exactly that. Remember, because you go for this Silver Tree play, you also do not have access to Yam. Another detriment for Kazva's defenses when he has to rely on more archers and spears. Looks like deer play is going to be mirrored as RecoN moves out as well. Also has the berries in the neighborhood, even better for him. Juicy, delicious berries. Really feels like this outpost play didn't stop much, right? Like, sure, you annoyed him because he invested the mill and he couldn't gather the berries anymore. You know, you stopped him from going multi-TC. But I think I've seen a few Abbasid players switching away from the multi-TC boom. Like, there's been an argument that, you know, oh, if you don't go multi-TC as the Abbasids, you're losing. And I love the fact that players are going out of their way to prove that wrong. RecoN is doing exactly that right now. I'd say he is in a better position. This is like a 55-60% in his favor right now. His comp is a lot stronger. Just look at the army value comparison. And look at what is required for Kaz. Like, he can mass archers, that's his one-up. But if RecoN switches into archers as well, he can kind of mirror this. Well, we are going to see that maneuver now into the deer stack location. Looking to force the fight. A dangerous one for RecoN. Maybe jumping the gun a little here. Camel archers, probing a little. Range comp, heavily invested into by Kazva. And Kazva, he gets pinched here, surrounded by the horsemen and spears. Now commitment into the assault. Horsemen trying to peel back, so spear on spear. Camel archers attacking into the range combat here. Nice repositioning by Kazva, trying to minimize the exposure he has onto his range format. It's an exchange that in terms of damage done should be good for Kazva. The problem is RecoN's numbers are so good, he comes out ahead. Horseman mass will reign supreme. Army is going to be wiped, and Kazva, he just tried to trade again. And once again, he's going to be shut down. What a play. What a micro out of RecoN. He just sheer numbered that. Forced the engagement by going onto the outposts. And the horsemen, I mean, the bang for buck there. Sure, you can talk about destroyed value where, like, it looks like it should be going the way of Kazva, but the problem is the raw HP on his units are inferior. The Camel Archers, the horsemen, everything added in by RecoN is so much more tanky. And that's why he's able to get through that. Kaz. Okay, that's where it came in. Good identification coming in from Diff. There was a raid in, so damage was done on the other side, but the difference now is when you look at the reset, who has an army and who doesn't. Kazva had done a great job of trading some eco here, but the downside is he lost everything else. He can't trade. He has no food source other than sheep now, and he will not get access to these deer again. He will not get access to trade. Kazva is far from out of the hole. And you can see it in the military count. Despite the eco trade, despite the fact that he at least made sure he took what he lost, he didn't do that in the military department. Instead, he's now miles behind. And that's why it deceptively looked like this should have been a good fight, right? They were even on military pop cap, but because Kazva made this raid in, it was nowhere near close to an even fight. One good thing for Kazva is he at least shrunk the ranged element of RecoN's mass. That's important because it means that you can prioritize spears as a defense. But he's not doing that right now. Instead, Kazva is building more archers into mass horsemen. I am not a world-class player. But I do believe that is how you lose a fight, not win one. Kaz should know better than me, though. Maybe he's got something else in mind. Could just be he didn't realize this many horsemen were waiting for him. Could be that he thinks there's just too many spears. And I kind of get where he's coming from. So, like, if you want to dissect this, the reasoning why Kazva has so many archers and not that many spears, if he masses spears, he gets countered by spears on the other side, which he's seeing a lot of. If he masses archers, he counters the spears and he can keep range tempo. And he can try to start step back into his base and use static point defenses and choke points to his advantage. That's the logic here. Is because he's defending his base, these horsemen can't fully exploit their bonus damage against archers because they'll be funneled in and only a small group of them will be able to attack. Downside to this strategy for Kazva is RecoN doesn't have to go in the base. He can just park himself. And now he can go for the TC. He finally gathered onto the stone. He'll probably look towards 3 TCs and a longer timing here. We already mentioned this about RecoN. He's happy to play a long con. He doesn't have to rush the end of the game. Kazva, feeling the need to rush right now, has to jump into the fight. It's a bad one to take, though. Camel archers quickly sniping out the spears. Horsemen will take out the main army, and this is going to be a trip up, at least. By the time the archers get back to base, the damage done is going to leave RecoN so far ahead, he can do what he wants with this game. Meanwhile, Kazva has only one move left. It's Castle Age or nothing. And that's what he's saving towards. RecoN, meanwhile, almost done with that second TC. A few horsemen still being a nuisance in his base, but this is probably where RecoN tries to save up for Castle as well. Like, you saw that throwaway. Kazva, the only play he has now is to tech up, and I think RecoN realizes this as he'll start to wiggle his way around the base. Love this detail as well by RecoN. He's always kept the scout alive. Always maintained that vision. I love that he's taking this to heart. We had a conversation. We talked about the fact that, like, you know, vision will win games. And it's what he wants to level up with. It's always allowing him to see things ahead of time, but maybe not quick enough this time. Spearman slowed him down on the wraparound. He will dive in to try and idle out Eco, snipe out a few as well. Archers on the backside are being exposed. Now, this is a good play by RecoN. Remember what's just happened here. Kazva invests 1,800 resources into a tech up. No standing army to really defend with, only a small pool of archers. And that's something that RecoN is fully exploiting. The chase across the villagers into the silver tree with a repair order there. Oh my god, he pinched them on the wood line. Look at this play. RecoN body blocks him up against the trees. The murdering commences. What a play by RecoN. He may not have been able to stop the tech up, but he can sure as hell ensure nothing comes from it. Kazva gets stuck between a tree and a tree that has been sharpened into a spear. And he gets ripped down from it. RecoN now almost 20 villages up. Tech up underway, just over a minute away from military wing. And that, folks, without Phalanx. Phalanx is now coming out next. This is simple for RecoN. He can end the game off of mass spears. Even more villagers dead. What a play. RecoN, I love the fact that he didn't stop there. Oh, the tech up went. I'm not going to stop here. I've got a military advantage and I need to push it. And you know what informed him of that? It's the scouting. Scouting let him get in position just in time, forces the mass migration of villagers. And once he sees that many villagers in one location, RecoN understands that there are going to be losses. There's not enough garrison room for all these villages in the Mongol economy. And he exploited that brilliantly. I love the way he used Eco against Kazva. This luscious wood line that proved to be his grave. Nice grave tidings for Kazva. The Turk needs to find a way out of this bind. But how do you do it? You probably need to reboom your own eco. He did go for the prayer tent. That could be one way, but you need map control for that. You could go for a secondary TC, but that means you're allowing RecoN to get his timings, get everything. There's not many options left. Kazva has to get maximum value out of Lancer raids. It's hard to see that paying off. Tech up complete. RecoN now in control of the game entirely. Behind in 0 departments. The only department he's losing in is losing. If we had that as a metric, Kazva is losing a lot more. That's usually not something you want to be number 1 in. Notice that RecoN just parks the remaining stragglers in this area. Ensures trade never rebooms. It's the only way RecoN could be threatened here. Kaz needs to find some raid value soon. Feels limited, though. The only upside for him is RecoN is idling a lot of places right now. I guess there's a chat going on. Kaz just calls it. He admits defeat. Maybe RecoN was like, I gotta go. My mum's made tea. We need to go eat. And Kaz was like, okay, you've won this one anyway. But I mean, RecoN, that was brilliantly played. You know, Abbasids, a civ that a lot of people think are pathetic and weak right now. RecoN just taught us a lesson. That was great execution. The way he played Camel Archers in that convinced me they have a use in the early game. I've always believed that maybe 1 or 2 for the aura benefit makes a lot of sense, but the way he utilized 5 to 6 of them to strip apart his opponent and force a transition that Kazva didn't want to make was brilliant, and it's why RecoN was able to take this game. Because instead of dancing to his opponent's tunes, he shut out options from Kazva and forced Kazva to react to everything RecoN was doing. And when it mattered most, when he built up that military lead, he found the punish point. That tech up timing, although it looks like it's safe for Kazva, is not due to the lack of military. The fight that Kazva took before that ensured that that dive would succeed. Just great read by RecoN to see how strong he was in that moment and push it to the extreme.